Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's licensing subcommittee meeting. My name is Councillor Molly Mantle, and I will be chairing tonight's meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live on the Council's YouTube channel. If I lose connection and can't reconnect, Councillor Joe Eaton will take over for me. And before we begin, I'd like to remind all participants of a few housekeeping points. Please keep your microphones muted unless you are speaking. Please keep your camera turned on when you speak at the hearing. And please note as well that the chat function has been disabled. If parties wish to add any additional information other than at their allotted time to speak, they should use the raise the hand function so that they're not missed. And I also ask that members keep their questions and comments brief and to the point. I now move to item 1 on the agenda. Item 1, apologies for absence, and there are none. Item number 2, declaration of interest. Do any members here have a declaration of interest?
No, Chair.
No, Chair.
Great. Item number 3, variation of prescribed standard conditions and the regulation of commodities. Following legal advice, this item has been withdrawn and the meeting will now be adjourned until 7 p.m. Thank you.
Hi, Chair. I've got a few others in the waiting room, one whose name I have down on the attendance list and one whose I haven't, but I'll just let them in and just ask them to confirm who they are. Right, Mrs. White. Mrs. White, can you hear me? I'm going to have to ask you to leave because I don't have your name down on the attendance list. It would be best if you watch the recording via YouTube, as I don't have your name down on the attendance list. If you can hear me. Yes, your hands up.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
Mrs. White, with your hand raised, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry, I received the invitation. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I received an email with the invitation and the link. I've been trying to get onto this meeting for the last 20 minutes.
Was that from myself, Amrita White?
Yes, it was. I received the email on the 13th.
Unfortunately, I don't have you down on my list.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wouldn't have sent that email because I don't have you down on my list.
I think we need to check Mrs. White. I don't know that she made a representation.
This isn't acceptable. Why am I being blocked from this meeting? I received your email 13th of July at 15:52.
Can I ask if you made a representation,
that's not
Mrs.
my
White,
fault.
during the
You sent me the invitation.
I think we just need to check if you made a valid representation, Mrs. White. I don't know if you recall making a representation during
Yes, I did.
Yeah, okay.
I made a representation. I've been receiving agendas, all the emails. You cannot block me from this meeting.
If you can bear with us, we'll just try and check. Just try and check the list of people who did make a representation. Just check your includer whether there's been.
I will send you my email so you can check.
Thank you. That'd be really helpful.
Thank you. Just trying to check now.
I might be down as Mrs. Plunkett, but my name is
Yes,
Mrs.
that's
Plunkett.
it. We do have you on the list as Mrs. Plunkett.
Thank you. Okay.
Can I just confirm that the applicant is here?
Good afternoon. Zaid here.
Okay, Chair, you can begin.
Thank you very much. Great, thank you. Welcome back. Just as we're starting after an adjournment, I'll remind you to please keep your microphones muted unless you're speaking, and please keep your camera turned on when you're speaking at the hearing. And if you would like to add something outside of your allotted time, please use the raise hand function as the chat has been disabled. We now move to item 4, Retail 24, 70 Uxbridge Road, London, W12 8LP. And I'd like to ask everyone participating to confirm that they're present as I call on you. We should have with us Mohammed Sahid, the applicant.
Good afternoon. How are you? Okay.
Great, thank you. Mr. Etisham Bakari.
Yeah, present. I'm here.
James Dismore, licensing officer.
Present, Chair. I'm just trying to get my camera to work. Thank you.
Adrian Overton, licensing team manager.
Present. Thank you, Chair.
Safa Hussain, legal advisor.
Present, Chair, thank you.
And then from the objecting, we have Adrian's already confirmed he is present. PC Charlotte Bennett, police licensing.
Present, thank you, Chair.
Martin Freeman, chair of the Caxton Village Residents Association. Is Martin present?
Yep. He should be. Just
we can maybe assume that he might be joining us in a couple of moments. Lucy Goodman.
Yes, I'm here.
Also chair of the Caxton Village Residents
Association. But yeah.
Oh, secretary. Thank you.
Right.
Manjit Sangera. I hope I pronounced that right.
Local resident. You have indeed. Yes, I'm here.
Great. Williamus Rosier, local resident on behalf of the Caxton Village Residents Association.
Also present, Chair.
Angela Gomez, or Gomes, local resident. Not present that we can see.
Councillor Mantle, apologies, it's Martin Freeman. You did, if you mentioned my name, I got kicked off about 15 seconds ago, and I've just
That's fine. We can see you now, so that's good. Thank you. And Emma, is it Emma Plunkett White, local resident? Who I think we can assume is present. She was speaking to us just a few minutes ago. Is it Mrs. White, Emma Plunkett White? Are you present with us?
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you. Before we consider the application today, I will confirm, in addition to the main agenda, supplementary agenda A, B, C, D, and E were published on the 9th, 13th, and 14th of July this year, 2026. And I will quickly explain the procedure that the committee will follow. We will hear from the following. The licensing officer will introduce the application, then the objector, and then finally the premises license holders' representatives. Usually each party will address the committee for a maximum of 5 minutes. And following the presentation by all parties, the committee may ask questions of any party or any other person present at the hearing. Except committee members, no party has the right to ask questions of any other party at any time during the hearing. Following the presentation and questioning, each party will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to sum up their case or representation. The committee will then retire for deliberations, and upon its return, I will announce the committee's decision. Please keep your remarks as concise as possible. We have read your very helpful written representations, so there's no need to repeat yourself. Thank you. Can I now ask the licensing officer, James Dismore, to introduce the application?
Thank you, Chair. On the 28th of April 2026, the Licensing Authority received a valid application for a new premises licence in respect of Retail 24, 70 Uxbridge Road, London W12 8LP, submitted by Mr. Zahid Mohammed. The applicant had applied for a new premises licence for the sale of alcohol off the premises Sunday to Thursday, 10 a.m. to midnight, and Friday and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., with the proposed opening hours for the premises being Monday to Sunday, midnight through to midnight. During the consultation period, the licensing section received 18 representations, all objecting to the grant of the new application. These were submitted on behalf of the Licensing Authority, the Metropolitan Police Licensing Team, the Noise and Nuisance Team, Councillor Mercy Ume, the Caxton Village Residents Association, and 13 from local residents. Please note it was incorrectly reported on the main agenda, and the details presented just now are the correct numbers. It is detailed in the main agenda that there has been adverse enforcement history in relation to the premises at 70 Uxbridge Road in relation to a previous premises licence holder. On the 8th of July 2026, the applicant emailed the Licensing Authority to advise that they wish to change their licensable activity hours for the sale of alcohol to Monday to Sunday from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. These hours are what is now being considered this evening. This information was published as Supplementary Agenda A and circulated to all parties on the 9th of July 2026. Following the reduction of hours, Councillor Mercy Ume withdrew her objection. In addition to this, Supplementary Agenda B, which contained additional information from the licensing authority and Councillor Umer's withdrawn representation was published on the 13th of July 2026 and circulated to all parties on the 14th of July 2026. Supplementary Agenda C, which contains additional information from the Police Licensing Team and the Caxton Village Tenants and Residents Association, was published and circulated to all parties on the 14th of July 2026. On the 14th of July 2026, the Noise and Nuisance Team withdrew their representations based on the reduced hours. This was published in Supplementary Agenda D, which has been circulated to all parties. And finally, Supplementary Agenda E, which contains additional information from the Police Licensing Team, was published and circulated to all parties on the 14th of July 2026. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And we'll now introduce the objectors one by one to make their 5-minute representations. First, Adrian, over to them.
Thank you, Chair. Just by way of background initially, it may be helpful to note that the Licensing Authority initially made a representation to this application primarily on the basis that the proposed hours were contrary to the suggested hours in the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy, which runs from 2022 to 2027. Since the application was submitted, we are aware that the applicant has agreed to reduce the hours for the sale of alcohol. So now it's 10 AM to 11 PM, Monday to Sunday, which now falls in line with our policy. I think we could say that whilst this reduction in hours is welcome, we do not believe that the applicant has fully understood the challenging nature of managing an off-licence in an area where there are consistently high levels of ASB and alcohol-fuelled nuisance. We believe that the operation of a further off-licence until 11 PM would only add another source of alcohol later into the evening at a time when these issues are at their most prevalent. It should also be noted that there has been a significant and relevant licensing history at this premises. Whilst we appreciate that this is a new applicant and a new licence holder, I think it's worthwhile just going through the background of that. In 2019, a review application was made by the police and conditions were added to the licence. And then in December 2025, the licence was reviewed by the Licensing Authority after continuous breaches of these conditions were observed by officers who carried out inspections. In addition to the sale of alcohol outside of permitted hours, on occasion, this was witnessed, along with, as I said, breaches of conditions. One of the conditions that was previously breached concerned the sale of high-strength beers and ciders, which are popular with street drinkers in the area. And we have noted that no such condition is currently included in the application before you this evening. And we are concerned that on this basis, the premises, if the licence were granted, would instantly attract street drinkers without this condition on the licence. In summary, at this stage, we're not satisfied that sufficient evidence has been provided to demonstrate how the applicant will put robust management controls in place to prevent unlawful trading and to avoid a reoccurrence of the issues that previously led to the loss of the licence in December last year. The proposed reduction in hours to 2300, as mentioned previously, does not, in our view, represent a significant enough departure from the previous operation to mitigate these concerns. We would therefore recommend to you that this application is refused. However, should the subcommittee be minded to grant a licence, we would ask that the consideration be given to either a substantially earlier terminal hour for the sale of alcohol, such as 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, together with an improved set of conditions which also focuses on the street drinking issues in the surrounding area. I would also suggest that possibly a time-limited licence could be considered to provide further reassurance to local residents who have had to live with these issues on a day-to-day basis over the last couple of years. I don't have anything else to add at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Can I then move on to PC Charlotte Bennett, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so the police have objected to this application basically on the grounds of prevention of crime and disorder. I've seen that the applicant has reduced their proposed alcohol hours to 11 PM at night very recently, but it doesn't address our primary concerns with the operation of the business and the long-established issues that are associated with this venue. So my objection is not just based on the hours alone, but also it's in regards to the long-standing and persistent pattern of crime and antisocial behaviour that's associated with this premises and the immediate area. So everyone will be aware that the previous premises licence was revoked in December 2025, and that was due to the inadequate operation of their premises. I understand this is a new applicant, and although I've seen under, I think it was Agenda 4C, that there may be some links between the new applicant and the current licence holder, but I'll leave that with them to confirm later. For me, there's still been insufficient evidence presented by the applicant to demonstrate that the underlying issues at this location have changed or been addressed. And I just think that granting a further alcohol licence would continue to not promote the licensing objectives. As you've seen, the evidence that I've submitted, it spans over approximately 2 years, and it demonstrates a consistent pattern rather than any sort of isolated incident. So it includes repeated reports of drug dealing, which is happening immediately outside the venue. Then you've got drug use, antisocial behaviour, a lot of violent incidents outside, some involving staff being victims as well. There's robberies. We've had some reports where people have been searched and weapons have been recovered. And then you also have like the frequent police attendance outside the location. We've also had council CCTV operators who have directed police officers to suspected drug transactions outside the premises. And officers have also detailed that they've seen known offenders, some with gang affiliation, that appear to regularly congregate outside the location too. Despite police trying to engage with the premises and some enforcement actions that have taken place, I think these issues have persisted really over a considerable period of time. It puts a strain on police resources. It negatively affects residents, the surrounding businesses and visitors in the area, because you get a lot of tourists that obviously come and visit Westfield. So in my view, reducing the terminal hour for alcohol sales does not really address these ingrained issues. And I still remain concerned that granting a new premises licence for the sale of alcohol is likely to continue existing crime and disorder in the local vicinity. For those reasons, I would like yourselves and the licensing subcommittee to refuse this application. We've also had, I've just pulled a list of some of the significant incidents. We've had 2 incidents following the revocation that have taken place in January and then again in April this year. In January, we've actually had staff reporting that there's regular drug dealing going on outside the vicinity, which I'm not sure what they've done to try and prevent this from happening. It seems to be a point of interest for people to come and do that outside the premises. And then one incident that I find quite concerning is in April this year. We had some stolen laptops that were recovered inside the premises, and that was linked to a staff member within the store. The licence holder claimed to the police officers that were investigating the crime that he rented out the electronic stand to these staff members. But it shows again that thorough checks aren't taking place in regards to who they're allowing to operate inside their premises. So again, this is why I haven't seen any sort of change take place at this premises, and I would like this licensing subcommittee to refuse this application, please.
Thank you very much, PC Bennett. We'll now move to residents objecting, beginning with Martin Freeman, Chair of the Caxton Village Residents Association.
Thank you, Chair. So yes, I chair the CBTRA Residents Association, which is the area of Caxton Village, which is, for those who don't know, the 7 or so streets directly north of the Green. And these are probably the closest residents to the retail premises on that area of Uxbridge Road that borders the Green to the north. Specifically and kind of unusually in relation to this application, we're representing 57 residents who opposed this application and added their details to the submission that was made, and those details are with the licensing committee. The problem with ASB that's been referenced, we know it's commonplace across Shepherd's Bush Green, but it's been a specific problem along the north side of the green, and even more specifically around the premises at this this point in Uxbridge Road. And the scale of the kind of residential objection reflects the strength of feeling about this issue and what residents believe is the oversupply of alcohol premises in an area that's deeply troubled by antisocial behaviour. We know it's an area that's recognised as one of the worst in the borough and a top 30 hotspot in London, according to various kind of media reports. I won't repeat what we've just heard, but obviously we do know that this has the previous licence has been revoked. You're going to hear from some residents who have sort of paid the price of the existing challenges in these with this premises, and they're going to come immediately after me. The main point I want to make is that often when it's a new application, the impact is potentially theoretical, but this is not theoretical because the premises is already licensed and has been for some time. And we can see on a daily basis the problems that this specific area surfaces, whether it's caused directly by Retail 24 or it's a result of the cumulative impact. Is obviously you can't necessarily determine that fully, but the submissions that you just heard from the licensing authority and the police demonstrate and reinforce the problems that residents have experienced and the challenges of this sort of specific location. CBTRA acknowledges, like others have done, that the applicant has reduced the proposed operating hours, and obviously it's welcome. But similarly, we don't accept that this mitigates the problem or kind of rebuts any licensing presumption. There isn't really any tangible evidence that we've seen in the proposal to demonstrate why things will be better under a new license, other than just promises of good behaviour, which isn't and shouldn't, we believe, be sufficient in an area with this concentration of challenge and past history. We've also asked for clarification about the connection, if any, between the previous licensee and the new licensee, because the Companies House records pose questions that we can't answer. We're not alleging anything, it's just that we don't understand the records. But my final point really is that the licensing authority and Metropolitan Police both conclude that the recent history of these premises remains relevant and that the evidence doesn't demonstrate that the underlying risks have been overcome. But I'll hand to other residents to make specific comments about their own experiences, but would just ask that the licensing committee refuse this application.
Thank you very much, Martin. And we'll now move to Lucy Goodman, who is Secretary of the Caxton Village Residents Association.
Hi, I think I'm unmuted. Yep, I'm Lucy Goodman. I am Secretary of Caxton Village Tenants and Residents Association, CBTRA. Martin has explained why residents oppose this application, but I would like to make the following 4 additional points. Firstly, since the end of 2022, CBTRA has worked constructively with local residents and with the Metropolitan Police, specifically the SNT, in an effort to really improve conditions around Shepherd's Bush Green, our home. We have not come to this hearing lightly. We do not object to every single licensing application. We totally recognise that licensed businesses have an important role to play on Shepherd's Bush Green and to the local economy. But this particular premise has presented really, I think, we believe, exceptional challenges. Secondly, this application shouldn't just be viewed as simply a new application. Martin touched briefly on this, for another convenience store wishing to sell alcohol. This premises has both a long historic and, as Charlotte explained, quite a recent licensing history, which culminated in revocation. And as we understand it, revocation is the most serious sanction available to the council, to this committee. And it followed repeated failures to comply with the licence and repeated concerns about the operation of the premises. Those failures are directly relevant because they demonstrate the risks associated with this location. Thirdly, since residents submitted their objections, both the licensing authority and now the Metropolitan Police have independently reached the same conclusion. The police representation describes a sustained pattern of crime, antisocial behaviour, drug dealing, violence, and repeated police intervention associated with this premises and its immediate vicinity over a prolonged period. And perhaps most importantly, the dedicated ward officer tells this committee that they are targeting, that the work is being targeted by the Safer Neighbourhood team, the SNT, to tackle off licences, facilitating antisocial behaviour. They think there has been some improvement, but residents, you might hear, say possibly something different. But what we don't want to do is reverse any work that the police have been doing to target that. And we don't believe that residents should have to rely on sustained police and council enforcement for their neighbourhood to feel safe. We understood the licensing system is intended to ensure that licensed premises promote the licensing objectives through their own operation and management, not having to be enforced by the council or the police. The evidence that we've seen, and this committee is before this committee, suggests that this location has required repeated intervention over a considerable period, and both the police and licensing authority remain of the view that granting a further licence would undermine those objectives. Finally, we acknowledge that the applicant has reduced the proposed hours. I wasn't clear and couldn't find what the current licensing hours actually are, whether they finish at 11 p.m. or they currently finish at 2 a.m. And I'd be really like to hear that, because if it's 11 p.m., then they've been operating at 11 p.m. all this time. It hasn't seemed to make any difference. So that's one thing. And if it is a reduction, then that's welcome, but it doesn't answer the central question before the committee. And the question is whether there is sufficient evidence that granting this licence will promote the licensing objectives. We haven't heard it, and residents of Caxton Village respectfully submit that there is not. Therefore, there are assurances, there are promises we've seen, but against those promises stand the licensing authority, the Metropolitan Police, a dedicated ward officer's professional evidence, and the lived experience of 57 residents who felt very strongly about this and are represented by CBTRA today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucy. I'll now move to Manjit Sangera, who is a local resident.
And I don't want to waste my few minutes that I have, but I totally agree with what Lucy, the police officer, Charlotte and Martin have said. So I will just now tell you how I experience. Every day, especially in the evenings, I always get people standing in my doorway. I have to excuse myself to get into my own house. I have to look over my shoulder to make sure I don't get pushed in. It's got 3 floors. My husband works from the top. Nighttime, when I do ask them to move, they've sworn at me. The smell of alcohol, and most recently, over the past 7 months, they've been urinating in my doorway. So when I'm coming home in the evening, I've had a nice floor has been ruined by this constant urine smell coming up my stairs. My shoes have got ruined. So before I used to have the smell of drugs, and now I've got alcohol. I find bottles, empty bottles outside my door. It's got to be put every evening, whenever. I never go out my door without having a peep to see if anyone's standing at my door. I shouldn't be having to do that. And most importantly, my daughter, when she's been out in the evening and she doesn't come home late, she'll phone. She's too scared to come just along the stretch from the tube to where I live. And I'm very close to a retail shop, and that should not be the case. I mean, it's got to the point, honestly, I just want to leave. I'm at my wit's end. And then recently a knife was found just outside my door, between my door and the pipe. A dagger, knife. I phoned the police and they took it away. So what was that knife doing there? And as for the noise, when I have reported it, and then asked, have I seen the faces? Am I really going to open the door to see what they look like? Can you describe them? Am I really going to do that? Quite often I see great big gangs over on the green, At times I see the law enforcement vans, they seem to be doing nothing. They're sort of parked there. I'm not seeing them actually do anything. And now I can't even open the window. The noise is so bad. It's party time all the time. I'm a very sociable person, but I'm not even socialized. I'm not inviting any of my friends home because I'm so embarrassed with the smell of urine, drugs. It's not pleasant at all. It's not what I used to be. I mean, I moved here in 1995 and really enjoyed being here, the communication, the transport. But it's got to the point, I mean, I just at wits, I just got to move. How awful is that? Westfield, great shops, but honest to God, it doesn't remove the rubbish along my road. I get cans, things thrown out my doorway. This is supposed to be my home. I mean, I'm not relaxed. I'm not comfortable in my own home. My family do not feel safe. And then the knife, and now the urine in this heat. I'm walking along the retail where I always see gangs along there. And I mean, recently, I can't tell, maybe a couple of, I actually asked one of the guys to move a long way from my door. Now, I do not swear. He just told me to he says, just fuck off. And now I'm so scared. I always like, when I walk along, I keep my head down because I don't want to cross anyone's eyes. How awful is that? I mean, now, you know, Martin losing made all that, but I want you to experience the experience. I mean, it's dreadful. I'm so embarrassed. You know, great shopping centre, but look at the people, the traffic of people along here. I do not feel safe. I mean, I'm turning the key and I'm looking over my shoulder to make sure I don't get pushed in. Because if I was pushed in, my husband would not know because we've got 3 floors. He lives upstairs. He would not know any different. I mean, every evening my daughter's coming, whenever she's home, please make sure she looks, or the Uber has to drop her right in front to make sure she gets in safe. We should have to do that. And along the 24, you get gangs standing there. If it's not there, it's along the betting shop along here. And I'd extend the license. It's not going to happen. Well, I don't want it to happen. I'm seriously thinking I just should not have to live here. And Will, my next door neighbour, feel exactly the same. We back up. I mean, we should not have to live in fear of our own home. And now to get license. I mean, is anybody looking at the effect of alcohol along the way? I mean, it's like, we don't even smoke, and then to get the stupid smoke hung up our doorway because they've got the landing, the stairs go right up into our kitchen. And we can't open the window because the noise going on. They're partying at 3 or 4 in the morning. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know Luke who lives next door, he can't even open his window. There's party time all the time. Sorry, I just don't know what to do because we've been complaining for so long. And I'm really feeling, I mean, I'm not seeing any action. The only one action I must admit was when the telephone box kiosk was removed from where I lived because the druggies used to stand in there and smoke or urinate. Now they're not there, they're outside my door urinating. I don't know what to put in front. I've got a ring bell. I don't know what else to put outside my door to deter them.
Thank you very much, Amanda.
That's what I feel, honest to God. I really don't know what to say.
Thank you for that representation. And we'll now move on to Wilhelmus Rosier. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjit, and thank you, Chair. My name is Wilhelmus. I've lived over 7 years at number 82 Uxbridge Road, just 6 doors down from Retail 24. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Rather than repeating my written statement, I would like to instead explain the impact the situation has had on me personally as a local resident. As a gay man who lives alone, I often don't feel comfortable in what should be my own neighborhood. Walking home often means passing groups of people gathered outside the shop, and there is constant atmosphere of drug dealing, drug use, public drinking, and public urination, which has particularly affected my neighbor Manjit. Whether or not every of these incidents is directly connected to the premises, this has unfortunately become the reality of living here. And I believe that adding more alcohol to this mix is just completely a step in the wrong direction. Over time, the situation has changed the way I live. I think about when I leave home, when I come back, and what I might find outside when I enter or leave my flat. Same as Manjit, there are often people in front of my door and I have to excuse myself, can I come in? I have the benefit of being a larger man and often not feeling as threatened, but I can completely understand how this is to her and other elderly neighbors. Friends visiting my flat have also commented on how intimidating the area can feel at times, particularly in the late afternoon and evenings, and especially the area around Retail 24 between Shepherd's Bush Station and my flat. I think home should be somewhere we can relax, but instead there is a constant feeling of unease because of the situation. And again, adding more alcohol is not the solution. I appreciate that the applicant has reduced the proposed alcohol sales hours. However, from my experience as a resident, the antisocial behavior in this area is not limited to just late at night. It happens throughout the day and the evening. So I just don't believe that simply changing the hours properly addresses these concerns. As Lucy mentioned, I do think we should support local businesses that operate responsibly because they do contribute to the local area's economy. But residents also deserve to feel safe in and around their own homes. And lately, I just don't think that's the case anymore. And that's why I respectfully ask the committee to refuse this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe Angela Gomez is not with us, so we will move on to Emma Plunkett-White. Emma Plunkett, are you with us now? Doesn't look like she is with us. Is anyone in contact with Emma from sort of CVRTA that could?
Is on the she appears to be on her, she's a named item, but she looks like she's on mute and no picture is visible.
Yeah, no, yes, I can see her on the Zoom. I'm not sure
Zoom.
if she's actually with us.
She's not one of Caxton Village residents,
right?
So I can't reach out to her separately and say.
No, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, I realise that.
In which case, Saf.
Oh, shame after all that.
Should we move on to the applicant then, Safa, or?
I think we can move on, and then if she joins later, maybe we can try again. Thanks,
Right,
Chair.
we will do that. Thank you very much. In which case, I call on the applicant, Mohammed Zahid. You have half an hour to speak, I believe, following all of those representations. But as we said at the beginning, we encourage you to sort of short and sweet. And yeah, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Zahid. So I heard about all this concern, what happened in this this business. So I know this whole issue is very genuine. So we can't close the eye all this issue. So I can understand. So before I applied, I asked this the owner, this business is already running. So why he's provoked this his research. So he told me all these concerns you people told here. I heard about this. So I'm the new applicant, so I try my best. So is what happened in the previous the owner was running his business. So I hope I will do my best. So this all concern will not happen again. So I heard with my friend, so he will running with me. He has experience as well.
Honorable Chair and member of committee, I would like to speak on behalf of Mohammed Zaid. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to present this case. So listening to all the members, respectable members, the main issue that led to the revocation, it was management failure for the previous, I would say the current operators. Those failures have informed our approach, and we have designed these operations specifically to ensure that these mistakes don't happen again. Well, as Mohammed Zahid and they're actually going to operate this business as a family business. So I don't think so. There is not going to be any issue, as I've heard the previous management and the current licensee. Uh, they were not present. They never present in the premises, and that's actually was the main reasons of this incident that happened, and they caused these trouble to the residents and obviously all the people around this area. We also fully understand that why council and responsible authorities have raised the issue because of the history of this premises. Uh, well, again, I will emphasize on this issue that the previous management or the current licensee, all the staff members of this Retail 24, that was a past. We would definitely try our best to put all the points to make sure these license will be implemented accordingly and respectively throughout the time that will be given to us to operate this license. Also, the concern can reasonably address through enforceable license conditions rather than refusal, as most of the members, they were like more encouraging for refusing of this application. But I would say, like, if what are the chances that how many people they are buying alcohol from Retail 24? Because there are, as I have been to this high street, there are many other shops as well. People standing outside, the gang members, or the different words that I would use for those people. I don't want to repeat that. But what are the possibilities? They were just standing outside and they were linked to this premises. Definitely not. We would never ever allow these kind of people to be standing outside. And everybody knows that if we are the staff inside the shop, they try to, engage with them, it will cause a little bit of trouble. So the main point is we try our best to make sure to implement all the license points inside the premises, how we are selling the alcohol, what kind of percentage, what kind of products with the percentage we are selling. Secondly, we are training our staff. What we are definitely assuring the committee members that definitely when we are going to operate this premises under the license, uh, all the staff members will be qualified B2B license, training and everything. Uh, as I mentioned, it will be a family-led business, so definitely there will be no leakage of any information. Like, we will definitely pass on any incident that is happening, and we will try best to make sure all staff is trained. They know all the points of the license. They know all the basically how to operate under that license. And the perfect thing in our business I've seen in this premises is they have a proper shutter to shut down when the license timing is closed. So there is no way anybody can approach it. And also they open it on the same time. So paperwork is the first thing. The license holder or the trained staff, they'll be standing there. They will properly operate under the hours that will be given to us. As a respectable resident, they mentioned that if it's 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, there are many shops there operating till 11 o'clock on the high street. So that won't really make a difference if we close at 10 or 9. If it's 11, it's going to be same. People will still be buying the alcohol from other premises. We respect our neighborhood. I would definitely mention that this is the first thing that we care about, because we live in our homes as well, and we would definitely never ever want to have such kind of a thing outside our home. So that's the first thing that we'd be doing once we have the license or once we'll be operating in this premises. So again, the people who are standing outside the premises, we would request the local authorities, police and everybody to at least guide us and help us to make sure how to engage with them, or how to at least because we don't want trouble for our staff as well, or for ourselves. Definitely not. Obviously, they are not really in a, like, we are not really in a position to engage with them in any way. So the point is, we would request, obviously, we all together are working for the society. The local shop, they are contributing to the community, to the authority, like all the councils and everything. But if we are not getting a proper support from the local authorities in that way, then definitely it's hard for us to make sure they don't stand outside. I would also like to raise one point, like, if like how would people say, like, if somebody's like using alcohol or drugs and urinating outside, he is part of Retail 24. Definitely, he could have got that thing from any shop, or maybe he has bought it from miles away and he is drinking here. So, having said, like, they are buying it specifically from Retail 24 and going out and doing that stuff, or uh, doing problems for the society or maybe the neighborhood and everything. That doesn't really, I don't think so. That would be a sufficient argument to not give us opportunity to operate our business and we are applying for the license. Yes. In conclusion, I would like to mention, like, whatever happened in the past, that was definitely because of a poor management. Um, the the current licensee obviously is a current licensee. He wasn't here, as what I've heard all the time. It was all dependent on staff. If staff is definitely not trained properly, then these things might happen. And also, staff is not really the people who are standing outside. They don't really want to engage with them. And the best thing that the current licensee that he did, that he is not operating or he's not using those products who are above, I think, 5.5%, not a strong beer, I would say. So he is trying his best, and also we are requesting and we are making this application that looking at all the scenarios and looking at all the points that have these the current licensee have been through these things, so we can make sure that we will operate under proper license points, whatever will be given to us, and what we have suggested as well. And make sure we have all the paperwork. We will make sure our all staff is properly trained according to license. Give license authorities will be giving this a proper training. They will be all certified. And secondly, it will be a proper training. It's not going to be a monthly or 6-month training. We will be weekly training them. We will be operating under the hours, keeping book records for opening and closing of the shutters that we have for the alcohol sections, so nobody can approach them even after we are closed, actually. So, and also I would just last thing that I would like to add is we just want support from our local council, the police officers. We will do all the best that we can do, and definitely for the residents, we are all available. We are local, they are local, we are all together. We are working together. There's no way we can say, okay, we are not we are running away or we are doing all these things. Yes, people are doing these things. There are problems in the neighborhood, in this area. It's not just us. Simply, I would say it's not just Retail 24 that is making these problems. So pointing out that Retail 24, yes, we are part of that system, but just subjecting like Retail 24 is doing that thing, I would say that that's not a fair thing to say. But I would only request you, if you just give us a chance as a new management. Obviously, I have a experience of retail before as well, and Mr. Zaid also have experience. So we can make sure this premises will be operated proper according to the license points, and also will be we will be helping around with the community. So we make sure those concerns that were raised by local residents, they don't really happen again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now just call on Emma Plunkett White, if you are on the call, to make any representations. Okay, I think she's not here, so I will now move to committee questions. Can I ask each committee member to ask questions of any party about the application and the issues that have been raised at the hearing in relation to the 4 licensing objectives, which, as a reminder, are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. And I will use Chair's privilege to go first, if that's okay. Just starting with a point just from the licensing team. Could we clarify that question on what the current licensing hours or the licensing hours of the previous licensing application are?
Yes, Chair. Let me just bring that up.
Thank you.
Okay, current hours would be 11 a.m. until 1 a.m., except for Fridays and Saturdays, where that goes to 2 a.m.
Okay, thank you very much. And then I would like to direct a question to the residents, but particularly Manjit and Willimus. You've been speaking about the sort of personal impact that you've felt from antisocial behaviour, intimidation around your homes. Would you be able to sort of just briefly outline, firstly, whether this is something that's happening sort of just late at night, maybe after the hours of 11, between the hours of 11 and 2, or is that something that's happening more frequently during the daytime? I know, Willimus, you touched on this briefly. And could you also just sort of address that question of, do you have evidence to suggest that these people are coming from Retail 24 or buying alcohol elsewhere and then coming to the area? Just brief answers from either or both of you, or anyone that wants to come in from the residents, that would be helpful. Thank you. Manjit, you're on.
Manjit, you're on mute.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Sorry. That's right. Firstly, I'm aware of people standing along from Retail 24 all along this way. So they may not necessarily be from Retail 24. So I get that. I totally get that. But more towards early evening is worse. If I'm going towards Waitrose or shopping, there's certainly more activity. All is based standing around Retail 24. Now, I know you are stating that they may be getting alcohol maybe from elsewhere, but I'm noting, and I'm only concerned with the activity I see close to where I live, which is i.e. walk from Shepherd's Station to where I live. I'm not concerned about, my God, hang on, I wonder if they're getting alcohol elsewhere. As far as I'm concerned, wherever the alcohol's coming from, it's a threat to me and my family. More so in the evening, you get more gathering, and you get people stretching from, say, Retail 20 all along here. They may not all be from Retail 24, I admit that. But if you look at
Manjit, do you see people leaving Retail 24 and then sort of coming to stand outside your?
To be honest, I just walk past. I just don't want to be seen looking at them, because last time when I asked someone to move on, I was sworn at. So I'm too scared, to be honest, to make any comment. I just keep my head focused and walk along. And then to get a knife outside my door, do you think I'm questioning, hang on, I wonder if that's Retail 24.
Okay, so that's fine if you don't have
But all I know is there's a lot of noise around us, people standing with drinks from that Retail 24 along this stretch to where I live, next to where I'm number 80 and Will is number 82. What happens further down that part of Oxford Road, I'm not concerned with that. All I know is from the bit I live, where I'm living, and I am concerned. And okay, sorry, I've got to say about the hours. Okay, if you say about the hours that you want to operate, unfortunately, you have no say in who you're offering and selling the alcohol to. If you see who you're selling the alcohol to, they don't look like, I'm not being prejudiced here, they don't look like, oh, hang on, the law-abiding citizens. And even so, if you do have whatever hours you're serving, I'm sure you're not turning business away. just because.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Safe,
that's fine. Thank you. We've heard that. I wonder if Willimus is on the call still and had an answer to either of my questions.
Yes, I'm still on. I missed the question though. Sorry, I was away for a minute.
Just the question was whether you could link any of the sort of intimidation behavior or ASB that you experience to customers of Retail 24 if you ever see them, for example, leaving Retail 24 coming to stand outside your property. And also, I know you touched on this briefly, but if you could just clarify to us, is this happening just late at night, or is this happening during the day as well?
Okay, yeah. So regarding the second question, as when I spoke earlier, it's definitely a all evening kind of thing. It's certainly not after 11. I would say anytime after the sun sets, though of course right now that is quite late. Yeah, anytime from 6. I think it's when it starts. People start gathering in the area between our flats and Retail 24. And yeah, I do. When I walk past coming home, I do frequently see people coming in and out of Retail 24 with the alcohol, and then just hanging around in the area, either in front of Retail 24, or what I've also noticed is they're hanging in the area in front of Betfred's, and then particularly Manjit's. The door to Manjit's flat is particularly bad because it's indented. You know what I mean? So people have shelter there. So yeah, I think that would be my answer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll now hand over to Councillor Eaton for any questions.
Thank you, Chair. My first question is to the applicant, Mr. Mohammed. You mentioned quite a lot in terms of the training that you're going to provide to staff. I'll be interested to find out what is the training package that you're going to provide to staff and who is providing that training package, please.
Hi, can you hear?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, it's a B2B qualification. We are into it. Obviously, we are in training. We are in license application, and we are studying all these license acts and all the points that we will be following after we get this license. It's a B2B qualification that are necessary. Well, I won't say necessary. That will definitely train the staff to make sure how to handle the customers, how to handle the product they are selling. They should have all the knowledge about the product. What is the limit they actually allow to sell? What are the operating hours that are given to us for the operation for the license of alcohol? So yes, like definitely there will be a PLS, personal license holder, will be standing there, but we will be training our sub staff like helpers and all the staff that is present inside the premises.
I'm sorry, who is providing that training qualification? Is it?
The name of the it's not occurring to me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was named as a B2B license qualification. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Then I just had a second question around something the police team raised, and it's to do with the incident on the 5th of April. So this was obviously 3 weeks before you submitted the application, and there was a member of the electronics team which had been arrested for handling stolen laptops. So could I ask whether that person was an employee?
No.
And not an employee.
He's definitely. We have asked the current owner or the license holder. He is definitely not the employer. They have rented that place to that person, all the electronic side and mobile phones and everything. It's basically a rented place.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just ask on the training? You said in your representations there'd be weekly training. Is that right? Or did you
yes. What I understand, actually, the repetition of training makes the staff more. I would say. It makes them understand better how to perform and remember all the points that are necessary to perform the activities every day. If we do it weekly, it's not going to be a 3-4 hour jobs. It's just a few minutes. if we just stand there and guide them properly and tell them like what are our main objectives under this license. It's not just we are doing a business, it's definitely we are like participating in the community as all the respected residents mentioned their concerns. It's not just about business, it's about how we make sure that we don't sell alcohol even to the people. There are many people who are already drunk, so we make sure we don't sell it to them, so we don't really that kind of a business.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Stanton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everybody, for everything you've said so far. It's been very helpful. I do have a few questions. Can I start off just as to the applicant? Are you actually in the premises already, or are you intending to start working there at a future date?
No, we don't have already. We are waiting for our lenses. When we got the lenses, then we.
Okay. So you're not working there at the moment.
No.
And what is the nature of your relationship to the owner? I draw your attention specifically to its appendix, supplementary agenda C, which suggests that you do have some form of business relationship already with Mr. Raza. Is that correct?
Yeah. Basically, I'm Italian national. I'm not UK national. I moved in 2020 in UK. So when I moved here, so we have a common friends. His name is Hassan Ali. So because in Italy I was running the transporter business, then my contract is finished in Italy. So then I closed that business and I moved here. There was a crisis in Italy. So I moved here for work, and basically I was thinking to that business, transport running business, I want to run in the UK. So Hassan Ali referred me to the Kamran Raza. So I came to the Kamran Raza for making that business transport. So after that, we make a company. After that, Raza is very busy. He don't have any time, so we never run that business. So I left that business. Then I moved to this business, like the retail, like this business. And then this Hassan Ali told me the Kamran is having this old tragedy. He want to sell this business, so that's why I want to buy this business.
Okay, thank you. So you're just to clarify.
Yeah, we have a common.
Okay. So you've been involved with him in business dealings previously, and you're saying that if you get this license today, you will be purchasing the business from him, and he will not be.
No,
he have any involvement in the business whatsoever.
No, it's not with us. So.
Okay, and you have not been working in the shop.
No. With Raza, I don't have any relation with him.
Okay, fine. So when would you be intending to start taking ownership of?
I hope so. As soon as possible, I get the license.
Okay, fine. Can I ask? I will come back to you in a second. I do have a small question. I just want to clarify something quickly with licensing. So James Dismal, I think this might be for you, although Adrian, it might be you. If you could just jump in if necessary. The license that was revoked in December of last year. Now, obviously, we deal with all licensing applications based on their own merits. There is, however, as has been mentioned already by some of the objectors today, some, and particularly the police, some crossover and idea that there may be some sort of continuing issues going on. So I just want to clarify exactly where we are with that revoked license? Because I understand that it is currently undergoing appeal. Now, for those here, and correct me, legal or licensing if I'm incorrect, my understanding is that whilst a licensing decision is under appeal, the former status still is extant. So in other words, the shop still has a license until that appeal has been decided. So Mr. Dismore, if you could just confirm what the current status is, and also perhaps if my understanding is correct.
Yes, your understanding is correct. Until it's heard at magistrates and there's a final decision, then the license, they can continue trading. In terms of the latest, in terms of dates, I don't know if Mr. Adrian Overton has an update on it.
Yeah, I can help with that. So we don't have a date for the Magistrates Court yet. We've got a case management hearing that sort of organises when that date's going to be and how long the hearing will be, and that's on the 10th of August. And on the 10th of August, we'll then know, or we'll have an indication as to when the full hearing will be. But you're quite right that the licence remains in effect until the decision to revoke the licence is actually determined by the Magistrates Court.
Okay, thank you. I'll be honest, that was one of the reasons I was asking the applicant if he had currently been in the shop, because presumably the shop is still running under, I guess now, from what they've said, the old management. My concern would be if we granted the application today and the appeal was successful, there would effectively be 2 licenses extant on the property. And I'm not entirely sure what would happen then. I'd say to the applicant, on that basis, would you be undertaking, because presumably that license will be transferred to you, to surrender that license?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, no, thank you. That has clarified that for me. Going back to the applicant again, can I ask you, you've mentioned training, and you said that it was B2B training. Now, I, as I'm sure everyone else here, normally understands the term B2B to mean business to business, right? Can I just confirm that that is what you meant, and B2B isn't the name of a provider or a qualification that I've not heard of?
No, actually it's not the name of the provider. The name is not really occurring to me. I'm trying to remember it so far, but it's basically a basic qualification to understand the sale of alcohol. Would be in a simple words, it's just the basic understanding of how you're selling alcohol in the premises. So it's basically that kind of a training for the staff.
So really it's licensing training?
Yes, I would say yes. Yeah.
It's licensing training. And can I ask again, I know I'm flip-flopping, can I ask licensing, if you have anything like an approved list of, I won't say necessarily approved as in accredited, but recommended list of licensing training courses, you know, in addition to, of course, actually having individual members of staff, you know, carrying personal licenses? Sorry, no, that was to licensing. That was to the licensing authority. So, Adrian, I would guess that would be to you. Sorry.
No.
Well, I mean, yeah. What I would say is, if you want to be a personal license holder, you need to have the qualification that's given by the BII, British Institute of Innkeepers, and there's an award for personal license holders, the APLH. So I don't know whether that's what the applicant was.
My question is this: on the basis that not all members of staff necessarily would be required to have a personal license, there may be other staff. Yeah. You know, should we impose a condition that all staff must undergo training? It would be convenient if we could put all staff undergo training through. This is just vague wording, something like an approved training provider, and that approval being through the licensing authority.
Yeah, we don't have an approved training provider, only because we don't want to steer people, you know, towards one provider or whatever. But you could ask that all staff, whether they're personal license holders or not, have the personal license holder training course, because
Yeah.
when you go on that course, you don't necessarily have to get your personal license at the end of it, but it's a really good benchmark and a good standard to know that people are trained to that level.
Thank you. And there are presumably a variety of providers that can provide that specific training course.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I can ask the applicant, if we impose that as a condition, would that be something you would find acceptable?
Definitely, yes. That would be our a priority, to make sure that the staff is fully trained according to the license terms.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. If I can come and please ask PC Bennett a couple of questions.
Hi.
Hi. You've very helpfully gave us an update on some additional events that have taken place at the premises subsequent to, the last hearing, if I say, on that premise, which was in December. My question is that, given the information that we've received from the applicant, insofar as they have not actually been present in the premises, and it is presumably running under the old management, does this in any way affect your opinion as to whether we should approve or otherwise this application?
No, not really. My opinion doesn't really change. Just listening to the applicants now, they've suggested that they require advice on how to engage with these street drinkers and these people that are involved in drug activity. I don't think much research has been done in regards to the area that they're planning to operate in. I think it needs robust management. They should have come here with a plan of how they're going to operate this premises, and that hasn't been given. I understand that the current license holder hasn't addressed these issues, but I don't think the new applicant has given sufficient evidence to us now as to how they're going to address these issues as well. There is there's an ongoing issue with street drinking, gang-related activity, drug dealing within that vicinity, and particularly crimes of note that have happened outside the venue. And under the Licensing Act, the premises is still responsible for the immediate area outside their vicinity. Police have reported that some of the people standing outside that venue have gone in and out of the venue. So this hasn't been responsibly managed. And the new applicants haven't given anything to us today as to say how they're going to manage that efficiently going forward as well.
Okay, thank you. That does actually very neatly segue into what is probably one of my final questions to the applicant. You said, and you have said that that you want to improve the management. You've also said that you both have, I won't say necessarily extensive, but you both have retail experience. Can you please both outline to the committee what retail experience you have individually, and also give us some examples of specific ideas and items that you have to improve the management? I will give you a clue as to the sort of thing we're talking about, which is something that was not, unless I've misread it, in your application, which is a limit on, for example, high ABV beers.
Right, I'll just go first. Well, as far as retail experience is concerned, I worked in a couple of retail premises. Like I have experience in Tesco's during my education time. I was doing my bachelor's and master's, and also I work for Sainsbury's as well. So they are basically companies that really care about how to train staff, and yes, we had a proper training at that time. So I have that quite an extensive knowledge from that experience, and I'm definitely sure we can make sure. Obviously, this is not a big business like Tesco and Sainsbury, but we can operate with those knowledge, and experience from those kind of businesses and implement it in this store. And also, the best thing that would happen when we will be standing personally in the store. As we mentioned earlier, the current licensee is not really inside the premises. That's what I've noticed, and these things happen just because of that, depending on the staff members. So definitely when we'll be standing ourselves personally, trying to implement all the points and making sure that we don't really go for anything that will cause trouble for definitely for the community, and we do not breach any point of the license. So yes, it is definitely going to be a family-led business. So that is a plus point that I am thinking that will definitely make a difference. Your experience.
Yeah, so we will running this promises personally. So I worked already with the Hakikat, the store. So with the journalist or the Hakikat in Acton. So I have experience in that shop.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Question either to legal or licensing, which is this. If a license were to be granted today, it would come into force today. However, the applicant is currently not present in the store, neither does he or has he taken ownership of the store. However, a license applies to the premises rather than an individual. So is there a condition that could be attached that would say something along the lines of the license only becomes applicable when the applicant has taken ownership of the premises?
I can check that, unless Adrian or James, you want to come in, but I can check that.
Yeah, I mean, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking you can have time limited licenses. You can have licenses that last for certain periods, and say,
the reverse.
And what? Yeah, so it's I think my gut instinct is that you may be able to do that, but yeah, because Safa said we could probably check that and come back to you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. You'll be pleased to know I think those are all my questions. If I can just say thank you again to everybody who has made a representation today.
Can I just add one?
No,
Sorry,
please, no.
I'm sorry, that's not we don't have time for additional contributions from people sitting in on the meeting. I will, however, ask a couple more questions myself. I just want to be really clear to the applicant on your relationship with the previous license holder. You told us that you are in contact with him. You've spoken to him about the running of the store, and that you've previously been business partners. So can we just be really clear on what your current relationship is?
Yeah, so basically when I moved here, I told before, like when I moved into 2020 in UK from Italy, so we have a common friend, his name is Hassan Ali. So when I move here, I want to running here the transport business, not this the general store. So my friend Hassan Ali referred me to the camera.
Yeah, so I am sorry. I understand I should have been clear. I understand your history, but at the moment, at present, how often do you speak?
So the same Hassan Ali, the common friend. So he told me, he know about all these problems. This the name camera Raza. He know about all these problems. What happened? So he told me he is selling this shop. If you're interested, so that's why I came here to ask him for.
Okay. And so the former license holder won't have any involvement in the store going forward. Can you confirm that?
No.
None. No. Good, thank you. And then I just wanted to probe a little bit further on sort of a question, well, more the answer that we had to one of Councillor Stanton's questions about the sort of the support you said that you would require support in managing, support from the council, support from the police in managing the area, sort of directly outside the location, in the location. I'd like to hear what support you think you would need to manage that as a license holder.
Basically, this is actually a very good question that can really help a lot in making sure that we really follow all the points of the license, because the main point throughout all this conversation was people standing outside, they are consuming drugs outside the store, they're like that kind of scenario that really annoying us inside the premises and definitely outside the residents that definitely have a lot of concern as they're assuming it because of us. So the support is basically, if honestly, the main point that really, I don't know how to put this thing. If they're standing outside, you cannot go and argue with them. It's definitely, I would say, it's kind of a scary, or maybe you don't really, because you know how they are. So it's kind of a difficult for us to. So when we try to engage the local authority or the police or somebody that something is happening, so we want a quick action. So at least they can support us in a way. They actually, obviously they have a valuable time. We don't want to trouble them every other minute, but whenever we call them, we request to stand with us as a local business and give us a little confidence that they are with us and we can do whatever we can to make sure those people, they don't stand outside our premises, and definitely not next through 3 doors. It's not just us, it's basically somebody who's going to their flat or maybe next door. So it's affecting everybody. So this is thing that just came into my mind that would really help out us. Yeah.
Okay. And we've heard from the licensing authority, we've heard from the police that this is a difficult area and that it's will require robust management from the license holder to manage sort of patterns of antisocial behaviour, patterns of violence. Do you feel, as a license holder and as business partners, that you will be able to manage, in that case, people standing directly outside of the property, antisocial behaviour happening in the vicinity of the property or in the store?
Yes, definitely. It's because, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be a family-led business. So we will be in communication all the time. So as happened earlier, because the current licensee, he wasn't present in the store all the time. So it was all staff dependent. So staff was, everything was in the staff hands. They were, so all the incident that happened and that caused the, the authority revoked the license. So when we will be standing there, we will be spending our most of the time inside the premises. If I'm standing there at that time, even if I'm not there, Mr. Zahid or maybe a family member will be standing there. So we will make sure everything is happen accordingly. We will make sure, obviously, as a business owner, when standing inside the store, he definitely don't want any trouble inside the premises and definitely not outside anyway. So that's 100% sure when we are and this is the
but thank you, do you understand that you also have responsibility to the vicinity directly outside of the property, and that in your license application, I believe you commit to patrolling the outside of the property
yes,
to ensure
yes, as I mentioned, like it's not just inside the property. Obviously it's outside, and it's definitely a next door and people standing as I said, like I have actually monitored looking at the area, and I was just walking by and all. It's a busy parade. You can't deny that. Definitely, there are many people coming to the Westfield. There are many food shops around. People coming in and all. Evening time, it gets busier. So yes, there is a trouble. This area, I wouldn't say a trouble, but it's like people come in there, they enjoy their time and all. But adding, there are definitely people who cause a little trouble, drug use or alcohol and all. But when us standing there, responsible people standing inside the premises, they will make sure these things do not happen. And if anything, we will make sure. But still, if anything happens, definitely we will be in contact with the authorities and we will make sure that they know what is happening, and we will do things according to the law and prevent these kind of incidents from happening in the future. Yeah.
Thank you. I have one question to the licensing authority. So James, notice that we've ascertained that the previous licensing hours started at 11 a.m. and that this application is for the licensing to start at 10 a.m. I believe. And one of the reasons, is that right? And one of the reasons that the previous license was revoked was illegal sale of alcohol before 11 a.m. at 10 a.m. I just wondered if you had any concerns or comments on the licensing being extended an hour earlier or not. James.
Yes, I think I will get Adrian Overton's advice on that one, to be fair, in terms of the hours. If he's on the call still.
I'm happy to help with that one, Chair. I mean, we would, from the licensing authority's point of view, we would have concerns with that. I mean, I think it's clear to see that in the area there's a problem with street drinking. Often this is at its worst sort of earlier on in the morning, and then much later in the evening. So I think definitely an earlier terminal hour would be a concern for us as well, certainly. Okay,
thank you. I will pass to Councillor Eaton. Thanks.
Thanks, Chair. I've just got one final question, is in relation to what Councillor Mansell raised in terms of the patrolling outside the shop. Could you just confirm who would be doing that patrolling outside the shop, as it's one of the things listed to manage the situations which do occur?
Patrolling outside the shop is definitely it's going to be part of our responsibility. It's not like going to be only one person standing there. Definitely, we will have a couple of staff who will be working efficiently, and they will be given duty times and to make sure they stand outside the premises to make sure doing the, like I would say, patrolling or standing there to prevent anybody causing trouble or standing there or doing anything that will harm the premises and our neighbors.
So my additional follow-up to that is, will whoever is doing the patrolling, you said it will be you guys, will you receive any additional training in terms of carrying out that action?
If there is, yes. As I mentioned from the start, we are definitely into trainings and all. Without training, you cannot really operate a proper business. That's what I understand.
Okay. But this is not something. There's no training which you've identified so far in terms of carrying out that action. Because obviously,
I'm not sure with the current licensee who is operating this business. I'm not sure whatever their staff or how they are operating for that. So I'm not really into that.
Okay.
Really discuss that thing with them, but as far as we are concerned, yes, because there is a problem, so we are here to solve that problem. So yes, if there is something that is needful for this purpose, we will do this.
Okay, thank you. That's my final question, Chair.
Can I check if members have any other questions? All the residents who have made time today, you will have time to sum up in your final summing up bit. And Councillor Eaton, Councillor Stanton, are you satisfied with the questions?
Yeah, no further questions, Chair.
Good, thank you. In which case, we will move to summing up. Bear with me whilst I get the order right. Good. So can the parties each please sum up in 3 minutes in the following order, and we'll start with the licensing officer. Thank you. James.
Apologies. Nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will therefore move to Adrian.
Thank you, Chair. Not a great deal to add either. I would just amplify the point that was made by PC Bennett, and I do feel the same. That I don't think there's been enough research by the applicant when they've made this application, especially on the area and just generally about what's needed. You know, when you're trying to operate an off license, and there was no mention about street drinking in the application at all. And unless I've missed it, I don't think there's actually been a commitment to that condition even now, which is one of the biggest challenges in this area. I I also noted, just having a quick look through as well, the additional information that was sent through by the applicant as a supplementary agenda mentions incorrectly that the premises is located in a cumulative impact area, which were removed a couple of years ago. So I think if the applicant had looked at our policy for, to be honest with you, more than a few minutes, they would have seen that there's no cumulative impact area anymore. I do get the feeling that there's, that the applicant is saying yes to a lot of things, and I just don't know whether those things would be properly followed through. Things like the weekly training, which I think is really quite unrealistic. I don't even think, a large premises like the Shepherd's Bush Empire would do weekly training for their staff. So I don't think that would realistically happen. And then just finally to say, really, I mean, there are occasions, I think, that there's such issues in this area with, antisocial behaviour in the street, drinking, alcohol-related crime, as was outlined by PC Bennett, that sometimes a licence, when it's revoked, it's just not suitable for another licence to go in that place. And it really only if there was an exceptional operator, and I don't think the applicant has shown that they're an exceptional operator this evening. So I would still suggest that the licence is refused and not granted this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now PC Bennett.
Apologies for the light. It's the sun. Yeah, so to summarise, I still remain of the view that granting this application would undermine the prevention of crime and disorder. I've stated previously that there's drug dealing happening outside the premises. There's a regular presence of individuals involved in crime and gang association that happens outside, with some of these customers also using the premises inside. I've raised particularly concerning incidents that have taken place, and these have been repeated. There's been repeated observations of drug supply activity, and that's by police and also council CCTV operators. The applicant has spoken about responsible management. They've, for me, provided limited detail as to how they would effectively address the long-standing and entrenched issues that have affected this location. The fact that they're asking for guidance on how to deal with street drinkers and drug-related activity raises concerns as to whether there's been efficient planning, policies and management controls put in place for when they're ready to take over this premises that I would regard as high risk. I don't believe that they've got the correct experience to successfully manage this premises and improve the issues surrounding it. I acknowledge that there are wider issues within the area, and this premises is not solely responsible for all of the crime and disorder. But the evidence that is demonstrated at this location shows that it's repeatedly acted as a focal point for criminality, antisocial behaviour and other disorder as well. And I think there's been insufficient evidence given today to address these issues. I'd just like to reiterate that Shepherd's Bush Green Ward has the highest crime rates within the borough, and it has a major impact on our police resources. I've spoken about the crimes that have happened this year, but further to that, we've had robberies outside the location, which had a offensive weapon that was found inside the premises. So that's quite a major incident. We've had a customer inside the premises threatened with a screwdriver, and they were subsequently arrested. And we have had drug dealing outside the premises where people have been stopped and searched and weapons have been found on their persons. And especially over Notting Hill period, we have links with gang affiliated persons who are congregating outside a location and going in and out of the premises. And we've also had threats to staff. So we've had numerous calls there, and there's lots of street drinking and disorder that takes place there and on Shepherd's Bush Green. Most recently, Hems were unable to land their helicopter on the green due to street drinkers being so violent and aggressive. And one of the Hems members of staff was assaulted as well. Residents were reported groups purchasing alcohol, and then they're standing outside their addresses as well. I believe all operators within that vicinity are responsible for this, and we need to bear in mind the emotional impact it is having on them as well. I can prevent the facts. Thank you.
If you just sum up very quickly, one more sentence, or is that fine? Thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be satisfied that a further alcohol license is granted at this premises. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we'll move to residents, beginning with Martin Freeman. Thank you.
Look, I don't need to repeat. I think what Adrian and the police have said. We obviously fully support both of those submissions because that concurs with the kind of lived experience on the ground. I mean, this is a premises which is open and is selling alcohol, and we know that the problem persists there. It isn't the only one, as various people have said, but it contributes to that problem, and it has a history, and that history is kind of relevant. And I think the important point is that we know that this area is particularly troubled, and this is an opportunity potentially to reduce that trouble by not adding another alcohol license to the area. And that is what we as residents would like in this case, because it just does not feel like the responsible thing to do, given all of the circumstances that have been discussed this evening.
Thank you very much. And Lucy Goodman.
I concur with everything Martin has said, Adrian has said, Charlotte has said. Throughout this hearing, there's been a considerable discussion about staff training and licence conditions. These are important, but they're not the issue that caused the licensing authority and the Metropolitan Police to oppose this application. The evidence before you describes an exceptionally challenged location, the top 30 in London, with a history of serious crime, violence, drug dealing, street drinking, antisocial behaviour, and its immediate vicinity. The Metropolitan Police have explained really clearly that in their professional judgment, the applicant has not demonstrated the experience or knowledge necessary to manage a licensed premises in an environment with those challenges. They continue to oppose the application because they believe granting the licence would undermine the prevention of crime and disorder. Adrian, on behalf of the licensing authority, has reached the same conclusion. Even after the applicant reduced the hours and proposed additional conditions, he concluded that the concerns have not been adequately addressed. Residents have lived, and I know them well, and I've been listening to them for the last 4 years about this. They've gone through a lot. They have lived with the consequences of these problems for years. They have already borne that burden. They should not be expected to bear the risk that those problems return unless the committee is absolutely satisfied on the evidence before them today that the licensing objectives will be promoted. With the greatest respect, the two public authorities whose job it is to assess those risks, the licensing authority and the Metropolitan Police, both say they are not satisfied. I don't feel remotely comfortable that a council will put the residents that we represent at risk by ignoring that evidence. We therefore respectfully ask the committee to refuse this application.
Thank you very much, Lucy. And now Manjit, thank you. Sorry, you're on mute again. We can't hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Perfect.
we can.
I totally agree with Adrian, Martin, and Lucy has said strongly, and Charlotte Bennett, absolutely, because whether they have a license, whether they grant the license and they're going to keep an eye, we're still going to get the same problem. They are not going to address the violent people out there because they're quite life-threatening. When, they're so intimidating. I don't think I'd want to confront them, to be honest. So to me, where they have a license, the staff are being trained, the problem is still there, does not help me. What training are they going to get every week to address these individuals who are not that desirable? They're not law-abiding folks. I don't think it makes a difference to them. If they think that you're standing outside, you're going to help them, it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to matter to me that you have your license and you can defend yourself, but it doesn't help my situation. Are you going to stop them standing in front of my door? Are you going to follow them through? Because that's where I see them most. What can you do about that? Are you going to follow them and stop them standing in my doorway with alcohol in their hand? Are you going to address them? Are you in self-defense? You know you can look after yourself, and you're going to I can't see. I just can't see it helping. And as the others have said, you have not said exactly how you're going to go ahead with what you're saying, that you're going to address the situations. There's not enough evidence to tell us what you are going to do. And B2B, you're saying, but you know, are you going to be there 24/7 to make sure they're going to address and follow the rules? I can't see that happening. I just can't see it happening. It's great having this meeting, but I'm not thinking, oh, great, something's going to be done about it. If you're licensed, it's not going to happen.
Thank you.
What are you doing different that you think is going to work?
Thank you, Manjit, for that contribution. And now we'll move to Willimus.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to make 3 brief points. First, the applicant spoke a lot about these weekly B2B training, but to me it's still unclear who will provide that, what it involves, how it will actually address the antisocial behavior that we as residents experience. It just sounds very vague. Secondly, the applicant said that they are not the current operator of the shop, but throughout the hearing, I feel that they've spoken as though they do have detailed first-hand knowledge of its day-to-day operations and made claims about what goes on outside the shop and how they were annoyed or bothered by people outside the shop. I find that a bit confusing, conflicting, and it left me with questions about their relationship with the current business operators. Finally, when asked about when they would begin operating the premises, they simply said, once we get the license. There doesn't seem to be a clear plan or time frame. And that, taking that together with the previous points, just leaves me uncertain about exactly who will be operating the premises at what time. As a resident, I don't feel reassured by their reassurances that the existing problems of antisocial behavior and public nuisance will improve, much less stay the same. As I mentioned when I spoke the first time, I think the solution is not to add more alcohol to Uxbridge Road, to Caxton Village. It not even should be the same. I would even say it should be less. But because of this, I also respectfully ask the committee to refuse this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I don't believe that Angela Gomez or Emma Plunkett are on the call. So I will now move for the applicant to sum up. You have 18 minutes, but of course you don't have to use the full time.
Thank you very much, all respected member of the committee. We appreciate all your points raised regarding what happened in the past and what are the future outcomes if the license been given to us. I would like to mention a few points as all the respected members mentioned. Well, as far as I can mention about the weekly training, it's not we are going to send our staff to some, every week we're sending them some training authorities and getting a training and all. The weekly training was actually the inside thing that a management and all the staff, they gather and they get trained and get knowledge of whatever they have been told. Every week we are repeating that thing so they get a clear picture, so they don't it's a human nature. If you don't repeat anything, so they keep forgetting. So we can have a new staff as well. We are not saying like it's going to be same staff for months and years, but so the purpose of this training is at least we will have a proper repetition of the knowledge and all the points that are mentioned in the license, so everybody knows properly. We can cut it to the 1 month or 2 months after we know, and we make sure that they are properly trained now. And once we have a new staff, we train them properly as we were training the previous one. So that was the whole purpose of the weekly training term that was mentioned by me. Respected PC Charlotte mentioned about drug dealing and gang outside the premises. I'll be really honestly, will be saying like it has nothing to do with the premises. I'm not sure what is happening before and what is happening now under the current license and the current ownership, how they are treating them. But if you're standing in a shop or any store, you don't know who is coming in the store. If he's a drug dealer or a gang member or anybody who's not a good person, you can't really judge anybody. So you will serve them as a customer. He can buy something that is non-alcoholic. He can buy something that is alcohol. So it's basically not a sole responsibility of us and our staff as a community as well. As I mentioned earlier, it's a busy parade. You can't, if you just go outside now, you will see a lot of people just walking around, sometimes families standing there, probably 5 or 6 or 10 people. That's just families. You can't just say they're bad people. They're just standing outside. Obviously, weekends especially, you see a lot of people just, if you go to Westfield side, and they're walking towards, probably they're going to the Shepherd's Market or maybe the station towards that side, a Wood Lane, or so people coming from the Shepherd Bush Market towards the Shepherd Bush station, they can stand anywhere. You can't stop them. So you can't really judge anybody. They are drug dealers or, gangs or whatever. So we will try our best, as also everybody mentioned that we have no clear view of how we're gonna operate under the license if we were given the license. We definitely have, and following that, I think one of the respected resident mentioned that how do we know that activities are being happening here? Right? Do we have any relations to the current licensee? No, once you're buying a business, you definitely go and check around what's happening there. So definitely, once we agreed first, okay, and then they had a problem of license. So first we need to check what's happening in the shop, how the things are, how they're operating under the license, or how they are operating, what are their daily activities and everything. So definitely, this is our responsibility to check before we purchase or we move ahead for the purchase of that business. So this is how we proceed further. Also, the second thing and the most important thing that I've heard throughout the conversation is not the license or operating under the license. Everything just move around the outside of the premises. Like this whole area is like not really famous. It's full of drug dealing and gang and members and everything. We are aware of that. We are entering into this business knowing these things are going to happen. But as we mentioned a lot of times, that yes, we will address these problems as much as we can standing inside the premises. But if you're like saying, like we are going outside and dealing with the problem that is happening outside, definitely we will do up to some extent. Not definitely, we are not putting ourselves and our staff in danger. So maybe there is some other responsible authorities, they'll be dealing outside the premises. If we see anything, our job is to inform the authorities something is happening. So again, the problem is not inside the premises. As far as I've studied these, the current licensee, the license wasn't revoked because of the crime. It was revoked because of they couldn't follow it a couple of times, or maybe they have a history, but I think it never happened because of a crime or anything. Also, one more thing that was happening, that these stolen laptops were recovered from the inside the premises. As we mentioned earlier, that is a rented property to somebody else. If somebody is doing something, definitely it's not us as a, yes, it's our responsibility to make sure that, but obviously they are doing a transaction at their place that is rented to them. So what, again, we will make sure definitely that does not happen again, and we have tried our best in our basically license time when we will get it, that these things do not happen. And especially inside the premises, there is no question on that. The training thing that I mentioned again and again, it's not just from a proper training authority. It's basically we are training the staff on a regular basis, so they operate and they follow the rules every day properly, respectively, accordingly, whatever they've been told to. And the last thing, if everybody is concerned about the crimes, well, this premises, I'm not sure about the current owner or the current licensee, but we will make sure whatever happens inside, it's definitely, it's not going to harm anybody, or it's not going to affect the community or maybe neighborhood. But if it's about the outside of the premises, as I mentioned earlier, we will need authorities to make sure to be with us or help us or support us, so we make sure things don't happen. But outside is a different job. I don't think so that should be implemented on us, that we make sure that the gang members and the drug dealers, they do not do these activities outside. That's not really a part of our job to do it. So this is our concern. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you
so much.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank everybody that has come to make representations today, particularly those who sat so patiently through questions without being asked any questions. Very grateful for your time. The committee will now retire to take its decision in a separate room, and you're welcome to remain in this meeting to hear the committee's decision, but it may take some time. So if you don't want to wait, a summary decision will be published on the council's website tomorrow morning. Can I ask members to please turn off their video and mute their microphones and join the private Teams meeting for deliberations? Thank you all again.
Hiya. No water. Hi. No water, Will.
You too. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Can you please mute yourself?
Oh.
Thank you. We have finished deliberating. Could I have confirmation from the clerk that everyone's present and that we can continue with the decision?
That's correct, Chair.
Great, thank you very much. The committee has decided the following. Summary decision of our subcommittee on the 14th of July 2026 for Retail 24, 70 Uxbridge Road, London, W12 8LP. The committee has considered an application for the grant of a premises licence under the Licensing Act 2003 for the sale of alcohol off the premises, the application. In summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all of the individual circumstances of this case and the promotion of the 4 licensing objectives, to reject the application. A copy of this committee's full decision, including its reasons, will be sent to the parties forthwith. If the applicant or any person who has made a relevant representation is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrates' court within 21 days from the date of the notification of the full decision. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you everybody for attending and watching tonight's meeting. And as I say, a summary of our decision will be published on our website tomorrow. Thank you very much and have a good evening.